VJ out for the second Summer League game. He's already adapting to the Sixers culture. Get injured as soon as possible and load manage your way to victory. I'm just kidding, but at the same time, what a letdown. I was so excited to watch him again. Anyway, since he's out, let's just talk about the offseason. I think you can view it one of two ways. If you're in the camp where you believe the Sixers can win the Eastern Conference next year, you believe Joel Embiid can get back, play as much as possible during the regular season, somewhat stay healthy during the postseason for a run, then I feel like this can be viewed as a failure in the offseason. But I think if you're looking at life past Embiid, it's got to be a successful offseason. You added VJ, who looks like a home run pick, or at least has potential to turn into a star, and at most he's going to be an elite role player. And then you added 24-year-old Trendon Watford to the young core as well, who seems like a guy who can hop in Philadelphia and really make a name for himself. And at the same time, he fills a position of need. Same thing goes for 22-year-old Jabari Walker. Janai Broome doesn't look too bad either and has shown signs of being a three-point shooter, so maybe he can play power forward at the next level. Who knows? But I believe they've added to the young core this offseason pretty nicely. And obviously, you still got the Quentin Grimes thing going on because the new CBA, it seems like every restricted free agent, not just him, are left unsigned. Josh Giddey, Cam Thomas as well, but he's also 25 years old and he's basically an elite role player that we have been looking for over the entire Embiid era. Truly has Derek White potential. Signed Justin Edwards long-term as well. Adam Bona's looking great in the Summer League thus far, just looking better than the competition. So the young core is in a really good place, better than expected. But for a team that has been preaching, we want to win now, we believe in the core of Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid, I just get a little confused that they're wasting 2 roster spots on Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry. Now, Eric Gordon is one thing because supposedly they saved some money, but I mean, Kyle Lowry is like, what are we doing here? For a team that truly wants to compete, there's still no starting power forward on the roster, so most likely Kelly Oubre is going to be starting night 1. Fans of the Sixers are going to be projecting Trendon Watford to start, but do you really think Nick Nurse is going to start Trendon over Kelly Oubre, where he absolutely loves Oubre? And if you look at Trendon's resume, I mean, he hasn't played on one good team over his entire career. These couple posts I've been seeing kind of represent what I've been thinking in my head. Step Back ACH says, Morey was winning me over with Trendon Watford and Jabari Walker signings, but rostering 4 bums like Lowry, Gordon, Oubre, and Drummond is just a massive L. Knowing Embiid and PG health concerns, you can't afford to waste 4 roster spots like that. Gotta win on the margins. Suge responded, Morey always does just enough to reel you in a little bit, but never enough to get you over the top. Clear examples this offseason wasting roster spots on bums. Also, it's pretty clear that the Sixers do not believe in Joel Embiid's health moving forward. Based on their actions this offseason, it's a very life after Joel Embiid offseason in my opinion, which is perfectly fine and I get it. I would say my only big critiques of this offseason is I just wish the Grimes situation was not this big question mark or whatever's going on. I don't necessarily blame them, but it's just annoying. And as you know, that pretty much ruined their whole pursuit of Yabu, which is not a big deal to me, but some fans were pissed off at that. Also, I just think going after someone like Trey Lyles or Chris Boucher instead of adding Kyle Lowry, or at this point, they could cut Ricky Council. His money is not guaranteed. So I think a move like that would make me more happy because the power forward position should not be done. You can't just rely on Kelly Oubre, who is a 7th man on a good team. Paul George doesn't even want to play power forward. And then you got Trendon Watford and a 2-way Jabari Walker, who are good bench pieces, but at this point, they've shown no consistency to be a very reliable starter on a winning team. Who knows, maybe they pop. Hopefully, that's best case scenario and kind of just seems unrealistic. That's why, once again, I think Trey Lyles was perfect for our situation because he's kind of just a guy who can start for a year and then you can develop Trendon Watford. Then by next season, Trendon Watford can take the keys. In terms of a win-now move, if the Sixers were willing to give up picks, I think Cam Johnson was definitely a possibility. But I think we're in a situation where they want Joel Embiid and Paul George to prove that they're worth investing in. They don't want to give up any more draft compensation. I think if the Sixers are like top 3 in the Eastern Conference by the trade deadline next season, I think they would be willing to, maybe give up that Clippers pick for a real starting caliber 4, which is totally fair game. But I also want to talk about the Clippers pick. Everyone talks about that pick like it's going to be a guaranteed lottery pick. And for sure, they definitely do not have a future at all. Like, they have no young player like Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey, VJ. But what they do have is an owner and a savvy GM that worries me and thinks they're just kind of going to be a 500 team if everything goes wrong. To me, like, after this season, I was looking at the Clippers. I was like, oh my goodness, they don't look too good for next year. But then again, they make a couple underrated moves. They just got John Collins. They signed Brook Lopez. And once again, they're looking like one of the best teams in the Western Conference. And although they don't have a young, up-and-coming player to take the keys from James Harden or Kawhi, they do have a hot location for free agents, Los Angeles. And also, they could potentially have a lot of cap space next summer. Or if they wanted to, they can have it for the 2026 or 27 offseason. They're not wrapped into James Harden or Kawhi Leonard. Both of their contracts are expiring. I'm just a bit scared that pick is going to be worse than expected because everyone expected the Clippers to be bad last season. They weren't, and they just continue to make like low-key after low-key move. Like, I think Lawrence Frank is a really good GM. And of course, Steve Ballmer is really invested into winning. I digress, but I think what's really hurting the Sixers this offseason is just their past mistakes. Signing Paul George to that big contract. Because right now he's a question mark. We don't know what he's going to be. He could have a bounce-back season and all of a sudden the Sixers are back to contending. But also he could just be Tobias Harris 2.0. And that big contract really ruined the flexibility for this offseason, along with the Joel Embiid extension. Those two moves are the real reasons why the Sixers really can't do anything, because not only are they question marks, but also, at this point, they don't really have any trade value. And also, I think the Paul George situation, I don't think Morey wants to admit that he was wrong for signing him long term. He wants to see it through as much as possible, and hopefully it makes him look better than it did last season. Also, giving Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon, and Kelly Oubre player options is just kind of cooking the Sixers as well. Also, I think there's a trade out there somewhere involving one of those 3 players or combining those 3 players or 2 of them. You probably have to attach a second round pick, but once again, it's clear they don't want to attach any draft compensation. And I'll just end off the video by saying I think it's fine with where the Sixers are at right now to not know the direction and to not pick a direction as a GM in Daryl Morey's position. But I think the expiration date on that answer has to be the trade deadline, because at that point we will know what Joel Embiid looked like. We will know what Paul George looked like as well. You either have to decide to go all in and win the Eastern Conference that's wide open, or trade both Joel Embiid and Paul George for something, hopefully draft compensation, and start the new era of the Sixers. Overall, as a fan, I'm really excited for next season. I'm excited to see McCain and Maxey play together, see how that duo looks. I'm excited to see VJ. Hopefully Nick Nurse lets him loose. It seems like he's ready already for sure. And I think the Sixers have a lot of players on the roster that are just going to play hard every single night compared to years past. Also, the expectations, we really don't know where to put them, so that's always nice, having lesser expectations and not championship aspirations. It just makes it easier to enjoy, and also I think it helps out the team as well. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the Sixers offseason, and that's my mindset heading into next year. I'm excited. Let me know your thoughts below. Leave a like and subscribe. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.